When a girl begins to feel something deeper, something she can't quite explain, her entire energy changes before her words ever do. Feelings have their own language, and girls speak it without even realizing it. They communicate through subtle shifts, tiny actions, gentle hesitations, thoughtful gestures that reveal more truth than a full confession ever could. And if you know how to read these signals, you'll understand exactly what's happening beneath the surface. Because when a girl develops feelings, she doesn't start by telling you. She starts by showing you. She becomes more attentive, not in an obvious way, but in the small details you thought no one noticed. She remembers how you take your coffee, the stories you told in passing, the dreams you were almost too shy to share. She listens differently, not to respond, but to understand. And that shift, that depth of listening, is one of the first signs her heart is getting involved. Her presence also changes. She finds ways to be around you more often, not by demanding attention, but by gravitating toward your space naturally. Maybe she texts a little more. Maybe she lingers in conversations a few seconds longer. Maybe she brings up topics just to keep the interaction going. It's not desperation, it's interest blooming gently. It's the quiet pull of connection. And then there's her vulnerability. Girls don't open up emotionally unless they feel something special. When she begins sharing her fears, her insecurities, her past experiences, or her personal dreams, that is not casual, it's intentional. It means she trusts you enough to let you see the side of her she usually protects fiercely. This emotional openness is one of the strongest signs that her feelings are deepening. Another signal appears in her body language. She becomes more expressive without meaning to. Her eyes soften around you, her smile becomes more effortless, her voice more warm. She makes eye contact a little longer. And when she laughs, it feels real, because it is girls express affection through emotion, through presence, through atmosphere. Even silence between you feels comfortable, not awkward. She also starts to prioritize you. When a girl develops feelings, you naturally move higher in her world. She wants to support you, motivate you, encourage you, and be someone you can rely on. She may check on your day, celebrate your wins, or comfort you in moments of stress. Her care becomes consistent, not loud, not dramatic, consistent. And finally, she becomes protective of the connection. She may get a little quiet when another girl enters the picture, or become more curious about who you spend time with, not because she's insecure, but because she values the bond growing between you. That subtle shift in attention reveals something deeper than friendship. Girls rarely confess feelings first. They reveal them through actions, emotions, and small moments that are easy to miss, but impossible to fake. Understanding these signs means understanding her heart, because a girl's feelings always speak long before her words ever do. When a girl begins to develop feelings, the very first and often the most revealing sign is how sharply her attention shifts toward the small details you never imagined anyone would care about. This isn't a conscious strategy or a rehearsed behavior, it's a natural emotional response. Women pay attention with their hearts first, then their actions follow. When emotions deepen, their awareness heightens. They observe more, remember more, and connect dots in ways that reflect genuine interest. This attention to detail isn't about surveillance or control, it's about emotional investment. It's the mind and heart working together, tuning into someone who suddenly matters more than others in her environment. This heightened attentiveness appears in the smallest interactions. She listens to what you say, even when you think the conversation is ordinary or forgettable. If you casually mention your favorite snack, your preferred way of relaxing after a long day, or the type of music you like on quiet nights, she stores that information almost automatically. Later, when she brings it up again without any prompting, it's not coincidence. It's intentional caring. She remembers because she values what matters to you. A girl developing feelings starts noticing things about you that even you might overlook. The way your mood shifts, the way your voice changes when something excites or stresses you, the things that subtly bother you, the things that bring out your best energy. It's emotional observation, not forced attention. Her awareness also shows up in the way she anticipates your needs. Before you even say a word, she picks up on clues, your tone, your silence, your expressions. She might check on you at just the right time, or ask about something you thought you hid well. Girls are highly intuitive, and when feelings are involved, this intuition sharpens. She becomes more sensitive to your emotional signals. It's like her mind creates a map of your likes, dislikes, routines, and reactions, helping her respond in ways that feel thoughtful and perfectly timed. You'll notice she brings up past conversations in surprising detail. Maybe you mentioned a project you were nervous about weeks ago, and she remembers the exact date it was supposed to happen. Maybe you once shared a personal goal, and she checks in later asking how it's going. This isn't random, this is connection. When a girl doesn't care, conversations pass in one ear and out the other. But when she does care, her mind naturally tracks your timeline. She becomes invested in the rhythm of your life. It's her way of being part of your world without directly saying she wants to be. This attention extends to your habits and preferences. She notices how you take your tea or coffee, what scents you prefer, what clothes you seem comfortable in, the way you speak when you're confident versus the way you speak when you're uncertain. She picks up on your morning patterns, your texting style, your sense of humor. Even the smallest quirks, like the words you tend to repeat, the gestures you make when thinking, or the topics you always naturally drift toward, stand out to her. To her, these details aren't trivial, they're pieces of who you are. A girl developing feelings also notices changes in you that others overlook. If something feels off, she senses it quickly. If you seem quieter than usual, she pays attention. If you mention something with excitement in your voice, she remembers it long after the conversation ends. She might even predict how you'll react in certain situations, simply because she's been paying attention long enough to understand your patterns. This kind of attentiveness doesn't come from curiosity alone, it comes from emotional sincerity. This level of detail-oriented awareness shows in her communication too. She replies in ways that make it clear she has processed what you said, not just skimmed through it. She might respond to a tiny part of your message that most people would ignore. She may ask follow-up questions about something you shared briefly. Even her timing can reflect attention. She remembers when you said you'd be busy, when you have a long day ahead, when something important is happening for you. She adapts the way she communicates based on what she knows about your schedule, your personality, and your comfort level. Another subtle but powerful sign is when she starts mirroring your choices or preferences, not to imitate you but to feel more aligned with you. If you mention a favorite show, she might start watching it. If you talk about a hobby you enjoy, she may become curious about it. Her attention shifts toward the things that bring you joy because she wants to understand your world, not just observe it from a distance. Mirroring behavior is often subconscious. Women do this naturally when they feel emotionally connected. Her awareness also extends to what affects you emotionally. She may avoid topics that she knows upset you. She might choose her words more thoughtfully around you. She becomes more careful not to hurt your feelings, more considerate about the tone she uses, and more mindful of how her actions influence your mood. When feelings grow, so does sensitivity. This isn't overthinking. It's emotional respect. In group settings, she notices your reactions more than anyone else's. She might observe how you interact with others, how you respond to certain jokes, or how your body language shifts when you're comfortable versus when you're not. She becomes highly attuned to the energy you give off, almost as if she's reading between the lines in every situation. Her attention gravitates toward you effortlessly, even if she doesn't outwardly show it. The most meaningful part of all this is that she doesn't need recognition for her attentiveness. She isn't doing it to impress you. She isn't keeping score. Her focus on details is an emotional instinct. When a girl cares, she naturally pays attention. When she pays attention, it's because her feelings are growing. Her actions become the quiet expression of everything she hasn't yet said aloud. When feelings begin to grow, communication becomes one of the clearest, most undeniable indicators. A girl who is developing emotions towards someone starts to communicate with more intention, more consistency, and more emotional depth, even if she doesn't openly acknowledge it. This change isn't loud or dramatic. It's subtle, steady, and genuine. Her communication doesn't necessarily become excessive, but it becomes meaningful. The frequency increases not because she wants attention, but because she wants connection. And the way she interacts reflects the quiet shift happening inside her. One of the first signs is how she initiates conversations more often than before. She doesn't wait for you to text first every time, nor does she pretend to be indifferent. Instead, she finds small opportunities to reach out. It might be a simple message about something that reminded her of you, a question that keeps the conversation going, or even just checking in on your day. These are not random, they are deliberate signs of interest. She wants to stay in your orbit. She wants the communication line open. She wants a reason to talk to you without sounding too obvious. Her timing also becomes more thoughtful. If she knows your routine, when you're usually free, busy, or stressed, she adjusts her messages accordingly. She avoids texting during moments she knows you're overwhelmed, and she reaches out when she senses you might need company or motivation. This timing isn't calculated, it's intuitive. It shows she pays attention not only to what you say, but also to the rhythm of your life. Her communication adapts to your comfort level, your preferences, and the emotional space you're in at any given time. As she develops feelings, her responses become more engaged. She doesn't reply with dry one-word messages. Instead, she mirrors your energy, expands on topics, and participates actively in the conversation. When she replies quickly, it's because she's genuinely interested and excited to talk. When she replies thoughtfully, it's because your words matter to her. She becomes invested in the flow of communication, in the exchange of thoughts and emotions. She wants conversations that feel alive, not superficial. You'll also notice she asks deeper, more personal questions. Instead of sticking to casual small talk, she shifts toward understanding who you really are. She asks about your goals, your fears, your childhood memories, your beliefs, your passions. She doesn't ask these questions to interrogate you, but to connect with you on a level that goes beyond the surface. A girl who is developing feelings wants to know your inner world, not just your daily updates. The curiosity comes from emotional attraction, not from necessity. She shares more about herself, too. Communication becomes a window through which she allows you to see the real her. She starts opening up about her experiences, vulnerabilities, and thoughts she doesn't share with everyone. This emotional transparency is her way of building closeness. When feelings grow, so does trust. And trust shows up in the way she communicates, softly, sincerely, without forcing anything. She expresses her emotions more clearly and allows you to see parts of her personality she usually keeps guarded. Another powerful sign is how she continues conversations even when they could naturally end. Most people let a chat drop once the main point is done, but a girl with growing feelings finds ways to keep it alive. She responds with comments that create space for more dialogue, asks follow-up questions, sends reactions, or shares something related to what you said. She wants the conversation to last, not because she's bored, but because your presence, even digitally, brings her comfort and excitement. She values the interaction enough to maintain it. Her communication becomes more expressive too. She uses emojis more freely, laughs more in her messages, and expresses enthusiasm or affection in ways that feel warm and genuine. She might tease you, send playful remarks, or share inside jokes, small things that signal emotional closeness. A girl who feels deeply begins to communicate in a tone that feels more personal, more intimate. She wants you to feel her energy even through a screen. You may notice she starts sending you things, songs she thinks you'll like, quotes that resonate with something you said, videos that match your humor, or random content that reminds her of your interests. This digital sharing isn't random, it's symbolic. It shows she's thinking about you outside the conversation, connecting daily experiences to your presence in her mind. She wants to create shared moments, even if they're small or virtual. Another sign is how she checks in regularly. Whether you're stressed, tired, or going through something difficult, she remembers and asks about it later. She wants to know how you're doing emotionally, not just physically. This type of communication shows care, empathy, and genuine investment. Girls don't check in repeatedly unless they feel something. It's not a habit, it's a heartfelt impulse. When feelings grow stronger, she adapts her communication style to yours. If you prefer voice notes, she starts sending them. If you like longer messages, she responds in detail. If you enjoy meaningful conversations at night, she stays awake to talk. This flexibility isn't about pretending to be someone else. It's about meeting you where you are and creating a comfortable emotional space between you. Her communication also becomes more consistent. She doesn't disappear randomly or take hours to respond without reason. Even if she's busy, she lets you know. She values the connection enough to maintain clarity and continuity. Consistency is one of the purest signs of emotional interest, and girls show it naturally when they care. There's also a protective side to her communication. If she senses you're upset or distant, she reaches out more gently. If she feels something is wrong, she becomes more attentive. If you're struggling, she offers support through words that feel sincere and comforting. She communicates not just to talk, but to soothe, uplift, or motivate you. Her emotional presence becomes steady and reassuring. Over time, the tone of her communication softens. There's more warmth, more depth, more heart behind her words. She may start using affectionate nicknames, expressing appreciation, or giving small compliments. These are subtle hints of affection, not official declarations. Girls rarely confess directly, but their feelings reveal themselves in the way they interact. The most defining part of intentional communication is that she talks to you, even when she doesn't need to. She reaches out without a practical reason, simply because she wants to feel connected. This is where emotion becomes unmistakable. Communication transforms from a task into a desire. She chooses to talk to you, chooses to invest attention, chooses to stay engaged. Her messages aren't just words, they're reflections of growing emotions. They carry the energy she feels. They show the shift happening inside her, the quiet affection becoming louder through consistent, thoughtful interaction. Communication becomes the bridge between what she feels and what she isn't ready to say out loud yet. Emotional openness and vulnerability are some of the strongest indicators that a girl's feelings are becoming real, deep, and meaningful. A woman does not share the fragile parts of her heart with someone casually. When emotions start to take root, she feels an inner pull to reveal parts of herself she usually keeps hidden from the world. This shift doesn't happen suddenly, it happens gently, through moments where she slowly lets you see her truth. And these moments are precious, because they reflect trust, connection, and the silent hope that you will understand her in ways others never could. When a girl begins to feel something, her walls don't fall all at once. They soften. You'll notice this in small glimpses, when her tone shifts from playful to sincere, when her eyes linger a little longer before she speaks, when her voice carries a certain softness that only comes when someone feels safe. Emotional vulnerability is not about dramatic confessions. It's about allowing you into the rooms of her life she usually keeps locked. She may start by telling you stories from her past, not the ones everyone knows, but the ones that shaped her. The struggles she faced growing up, the heartbreaks that taught her strength, the fears she still carries silently. These confessions are not random, they are invitations. Tiny keys she hands you without saying she trusts you enough to hold them. You'll notice she speaks more openly about her insecurities too. This is one of the clearest signs of emotional depth. Women often guard their insecurities fiercely, but when feelings develop, she wants you to understand her, not just the confident, composed version of her, but the parts she hides from the world. She might share her doubts, the things she worries about, the areas where she feels she isn't enough. When she shares these things, it's because your presence makes her feel seen, not judged. And that kind of vulnerability is never a coincidence. Her emotional openness also appears in the way she shares her dreams. She tells you what she wants for her future, not just on a surface level, but with emotion. The passions she holds close, the goals she works toward, the life she imagines for herself. She begins to reveal who she wants to become. Sharing dreams is one of the most intimate forms of connection because it shows you the direction her heart is moving. When she talks about her future, she subconsciously imagines whether you fit into it, even if she doesn't say it out loud. Another powerful sign is when she expresses her feelings more clearly. She doesn't hide her excitement when talking to you. She doesn't mask her happiness when she hears from you. She doesn't pretend to be indifferent. Instead, she becomes more honest with her emotions. If something you said touched her, she tells you. If something you did hurt her, she lets you know gently, not because she wants conflict, but because the connection matters to her. Emotional honesty becomes important to her because she values the bond enough to protect it. Vulnerability also shows up in the way she lets you comfort her. A girl who doesn't care will never allow someone to see her break. But when she has feelings, she lets you see her in unguarded moments. She may cry in front of you, show stress she usually hides, or open up about something she's been carrying silently for a long time. allowing someone into that emotional space is one of the deepest forms of closeness. It means she trusts you with her heart at a level she doesn't offer to just anyone. She becomes more expressive about what she appreciates in you too. Women who are emotionally invested begin to articulate their admiration, their gratitude, and the things they find meaningful about you. She may compliment your personality, the way you think, the way you treat others, or the effort you put into your life. These aren't casual compliments. They're reflections of how she sees you through the lens of her emotions. Her words become fuller, warmer, more intentional. As her feelings grow, she also starts sharing her boundaries. This may seem contradictory, but it's actually a form of vulnerability. She tells you what hurts her, what triggers her, what she cannot tolerate, and what she needs emotionally. She wants to create a connection where both of you can understand each other deeply. Sharing boundaries is an act of trust because it reveals what she protects inside herself. It shows she hopes the connection will grow without misunderstandings or emotional wounds. You'll notice she asks for support subtly. She may reach out when she's overwhelmed, not because she expects you to fix her life, but because your presence gives her a sense of calm. She trusts you with her emotional storms, believing you will understand her where others might dismiss her. When she begins leaning on you emotionally, it is one of the clearest signs her feelings have become sincere. Her vulnerability becomes visible in how she reacts when you show her kindness. She melts a little. She becomes quieter, or more grateful, or more expressive. Her heart responds naturally to emotional safety. She may even tell you things like, "I don't usually open up like this," or "I don't know why I'm telling you this." These statements are not random. They are her heart admitting she feels something different around you. Another sign is when she shares her fears about relationships. She may talk about past disappointments, trust issues, or emotional wounds she's still healing from. When a girl shares her emotional scars, it's because she sees you as someone who won't repeat those hurts. She hopes, quietly, that this connection might be different. She reveals these fears not to gain sympathy but to be understood. You'll also notice she becomes emotionally transparent in conversations. She tells you how certain things make her feel. She expresses her excitement, her frustration, her joy, her confusion. She doesn't hide behind emotional masks. Her communication becomes more raw, more authentic, because pretending no longer feels natural with you. She wants to be real. Emotional openness also shows in how she allows you to influence her. She listens to your advice, considers your perspective, and values your opinions. This doesn't mean she agrees with everything you say, but your thoughts matter to her. Your presence becomes part of her emotional world. Above all, her vulnerability shows in the way she feels safe being imperfect around you. She doesn't try as hard to appear flawless. She lets her guard down. She allows you to see her messy emotions, her silly moments, her serious thoughts, her fears, her excitements. She allows you to see her humanness. A girl who does not feel anything will keep her emotional world sealed. But a girl with developing feelings will slowly, gently, beautifully open that world to you, not all at once, but piece by piece, as trust grows and the connection deepens. Softer body language and longer eye contact are some of the most revealing signs of a girl developing genuine feelings. Unlike spoken words, body language is instinctive. It reflects emotions without filter, without planning, without hesitation. When a girl begins to care, her entire physical presence shifts around you. Her movements become more gentle, her expressions soften, and her eyes hold a certain warmth that isn't present with others. This change is subtle, but deeply meaningful. It shows that her heart is speaking through her body, even when her mind tries to stay composed. One of the first things you'll notice is how her eyes behave differently around you. Girls don't maintain long eye contact with someone they don't feel a connection with. But when emotions grow, her gaze naturally lingers. She may hold your eyes a second longer than necessary, or look at you with a softness that wasn't there before. Sometimes she catches herself staring and looks away quickly, not because she's uninterested, but because she's feeling something she's not ready to reveal. That shy break in eye contact is one of the clearest indicators that her feelings have moved beyond friendship. Her eyes may also light up when she sees you, the pupils slightly widening, the expression becoming more open. This is a natural biological response tied to attraction and emotional warmth. Her smile becomes more natural too. Around someone she likes, her smile isn't just polite. It's fuller, more genuine, almost involuntary. She smiles more easily at your jokes, even the ones that aren't particularly funny. She finds amusement in your expressions, your stories, your gestures. Her smile comes from a place of emotional comfort, not social pressure. And when she's truly developing feelings, her smile shows not just in her lips but in her eyes. That eye smile is the kind she can't fake. Her physical posture also changes. She leans in more when you talk, not to invade your space, but because her body naturally gravitates toward your presence. Leaning in is a subconscious signal of interest, connection, and emotional openness. She may tilt her head slightly when listening to you, a gesture that shows she's engaged, curious, and comfortable. Her body becomes more relaxed when you're around. Tension melts from her shoulders, her arms become less crossed, and her gestures more fluid. A girl who feels uneasy or uninterested keeps her body more guarded, but a girl who's developing feelings becomes softer, more open, more welcoming without even realizing it. Another sign is how often she faces you directly. When emotions grow, her torso, feet, and shoulders naturally point toward you, even when she's distracted or engaged in something else. It's her body's way of choosing you in the room. She may angle her chair closer, sit in a way that gives her a clear view of you, or stand slightly turned toward you in group settings. These adjustments might seem small, but they reveal a lot about where her attention and attraction are directed. Physical comfort also increases. She becomes more at ease with being near you. She doesn't pull away if your arms brush accidentally, or if you stand close in conversation. Instead, she stays in that space comfortably. Sometimes she even moves a little closer without fully realizing she's doing it. Proximity is a strong indicator of emotional affinity. When a girl likes someone, distance feels unnecessary. She finds comfort in closeness. Her gestures may also become more delicate around you. She might play with her hair more often, not in a performative way, but as a natural response to nerves or excitement. Fixing her hair, adjusting her clothes, touching her neck. These are signs she's more aware of her appearance in your presence. This doesn't mean she's trying to impress you deliberately. It means your presence activates a part of her that wants to look and feel her best. Her body is reacting to emotional stimulation. You may notice that she mirrors your movements. This is a psychological effect that happens when someone feels deeply connected. If you lean back, she slowly does the same. If you take a sip of your drink, she might coincidentally do it too. If you cross your legs, she might adjust her posture in a similar rhythm. Mirroring reflects emotional attunement. Her body is subconsciously syncing with yours, showing that she feels aligned with your energy. Her touch, even if subtle or accidental, carries meaning. A girl with feelings may find small, harmless reasons to make contact: an arm touch while laughing, a light tap on your shoulder, brushing away something from your shirt. These little touches are her way of bridging emotional closeness with physical presence. If she lets you touch her casually, like a pat on the back or a playful poke, that's another sign she feels safe and comfortable with you. Girls guard their physical boundaries carefully, so when she allows or initiates touch, it reveals emotional trust. Her voice shifts as well. It becomes softer, warmer, and more melodic when she talks to you. The tone changes because emotions alter the way she speaks. You'll notice she uses a gentle voice, even when discussing ordinary things. She laughs more easily, and her speech has a softness that isn't present with others. Her voice carries her emotions long before her words do. Another sign is the way she positions her hands. When she feels nervous or excited around someone she likes, her hands become expressive. She may fidget lightly, play with jewelry, or rest her hand near you without consciously registering it. These gestures reflect internal emotions trying to find a physical outlet. A completely still body often means disinterest, but subtle movement shows internal emotional activity. Her presence feels different too. When she walks toward you, her energy softens. When she stands next to you, there's a calm, warm aura. She may soften her facial expressions, her eyes become more observant, and her gestures become slower and more intentional. It's as if her entire body shifts into a gentle mode around you. Even in group settings, her body language reveals her feelings. She may unconsciously position herself where she can see you. She might turn her body toward you even when speaking to someone else. She notices your movements, reacts to your expressions, and stays physically attuned to you. She may laugh louder at your jokes than at others, or her eyes may flick toward you even when someone else is talking. When feelings grow, body language becomes a quiet confession. Her eyes express warmth before she speaks. Her posture opens before she admits anything. Her presence becomes gentle before her words reveal what's happening inside. Girls rarely announce their emotions at first. They express them through these subtle physical signals that speak louder than any verbal confession ever could. Subtle protectiveness over the connection is one of the most powerful, yet least talked about, signs that a girl has started developing real feelings. This protectiveness isn't loud, dramatic, or possessive. It's gentle, quiet, and almost invisible, unless you know what to look for. It's the way she values the bond forming between you, the way she guards the emotional space you share, and the way she becomes more aware of anything that might threaten the closeness she feels. When emotions deepen, girls don't claim territory, they protect connection. And that protection reveals itself through countless small, meaningful behaviors. One of the first signs is the way she reacts when other girls enter the picture. She may not say anything openly, but her energy shifts. Her smile becomes a little tighter, her posture becomes more alert, her attention becomes sharper. She notices things she normally wouldn't: how someone else speaks to you, how close they stand, how eagerly they try to seek your attention. She watches quietly, not to compete, but because she wants to understand whether the connection she cherishes is safe. Her protectiveness comes from care, not insecurity. You'll also notice how she becomes more curious about the people in your life. She asks about your friends, your female coworkers, the girls you talk to, not in an interrogating way, but in a way that reflects subtle emotional investment. She wants to know where she stands. She wants clarity. She wants to understand who has access to you emotionally. This curiosity is rooted in hope and vulnerability, not jealousy. She cares enough to pay attention to who else occupies your world. When she develops feelings, she becomes more protective of your attention too. She values the conversations you share, the moments that feel personal, the emotional closeness. If she senses you pulling away, she feels it more deeply than she shows. She may ask if everything is okay or check in more often. She tries to maintain the emotional thread between you, ensuring nothing silently drifts apart. This isn't clinginess, it's emotional awareness. Girls notice emotional distance long before it becomes visible. Her protectiveness also shows in how she responds when someone else compliments you or seems interested. She doesn't attack, she doesn't compete, but she becomes more present. She might become quieter, more observant, or slightly reserved, as if recalibrating how she fits into your world. She values the bond so much that she becomes sensitive to anything that could shift your attention away. Even if she doesn't say a word about it, her heart feels it. Another sign appears in her desire to make the connection feel unique. She tries to create moments that only the two of you share: inside jokes, shared routines, emotional conversations that deepen the bond. She tries to build something personal, something that feels like it belongs to both of you, something that no one else can replicate. This is her way of protecting the emotional space between you, strengthening it quietly. You'll notice she becomes protective of your well-being too. If you're stressed, she feels concerned. If you're tired, she encourages you to rest. If someone disrespects you, she feels bothered. This protectiveness isn't romantic alone, it's emotional loyalty. Her heart aligns with yours in a small but powerful way. She wants to see you healthy, appreciated, and supported. Not because she feels obligated, but because your happiness affects her more than she admits. She also becomes more careful with her own actions. She avoids doing things that could hurt you or threaten the connection. She chooses her words thoughtfully. She becomes more considerate of your feelings. She tries not to make you uncomfortable. She pays attention to how her choices impact you. This kind of protectiveness comes from a place of respect. When a girl develops feelings, she doesn't want to damage what is growing. Her protectiveness becomes even clearer in group settings. She might position herself closer to you, not in a possessive manner, but as a way of grounding the connection. She pays attention to how people interact with you. If someone interrupts you, she notices. If someone talks down to you, she remembers. She subtly aligns herself with you, creating a quiet partnership even if nothing has been defined yet. Her presence becomes a shield of emotional support. Another sign is how she reacts when you talk about other girls, even casually. If you mention someone repeatedly, she becomes more attentive. If you speak highly of another girl, she listens more carefully. It's not jealousy, it's a protective instinct rising inside her. She wants to understand whether the connection she values might be threatened. She processes your words with emotional sensitivity, hoping the bond remains just as strong. You may also notice she becomes more invested in your decisions. If she thinks something could harm you emotionally or physically, she expresses concern. If she feels someone is taking advantage of you, she gently warns you. If she senses you are making choices that could hurt your future, she speaks up with care. This kind of protectiveness reflects emotional attachment. She wants to see you safe, not just physically but emotionally. Her protectiveness also shows in how she reacts when you withdraw or go silent. She checks in. She tries to understand what's wrong. She offers emotional comfort. She worries quietly. Girls don't feel protective over someone they're indifferent to. When she feels the need to make sure you're okay, it's because your emotional state matters to her more than she says. She becomes protective of your time as well. If she knows you're busy or overwhelmed, she avoids adding stress. She communicates more thoughtfully. She respects your schedule because she cares about your peace. She wants her presence to feel like comfort, not pressure. This sensitivity is another sign that the connection has become meaningful to her. Another layer of protectiveness appears in how she manages her own behavior around other men. She becomes more cautious about the way she interacts with them, not because she wants to hide anything, but because she respects the bond growing with you. Her loyalty begins to form even before any relationship is defined. She may pull back from flirtatious interactions or avoid conversations that feel inappropriate. Her emotional alignment shifts toward you more naturally. You'll also notice she becomes protective of the emotional environment between you. She avoids unnecessary arguments. She apologizes sincerely when she realizes something she said hurt you. She tries to maintain harmony. She avoids bringing negative energy into the connection. She values peace because she values you. She may also express subtle hints of wanting reassurance, not because she doubts herself, but because she cares enough to want clarity. She wants to know that the connection she is protecting is meaningful to you too. Her protectiveness is not a demand, it's a quiet hope. The deeper her feelings grow, the more she guards the emotional space between you with softness, loyalty, and quiet sensitivity. This protectiveness is not possessive. It is the heart's instinct to care for something it values.